What is up, guys? I'm bringing you a deck profile for Great Nature. I've never done a deck profile before, but we're going to do one today. I just want to say right now, my deck is a little different than what people traditionally run for Great Nature. I wanted to try some experimental stuff that I thought would be fun, and it's been giving me a lot of success. So I do hope you enjoy what I'm running, and I do hope you consider it. So to start off, we're running Blackboard Parrot. It's the only starter we can run right now, unfortunately. Certain eventually something else will come out. But for now, we're just sticking with the when wrote upon, draw a card. And we're going to go through the grade 3s first. So we're running 4 copies of Pencil Hero Hamsuke, part of a ride chain. If you have the grade 1 and the grade 2 in Soul, then you can discard 2 cards. You get an additional Excel marker. If you don't know what Excel markers, I do have one over here. This is my Leopold Excel marker. So this gives you additional rearguard circles, and when you have a creature on one of those rearguard circles, it gets plus 10,000 attack. So it gets you an additional one of those, so that when you place this, you get to place 2 down instead of 1. And then you get to search your deck for the grade 1 and grade 2 of this and place them on rearguard circles. Crazy, crazy strong card, but it sucks if you don't get the ride chain going. Then second, we run 2 Leopold. A lot of people run 4 Leopold, but personally I run 2. I find 2 gives me a lot of success, and I have a lot of fun just running 2 copies. It's up to personal preference, but this is for me. You always want to run this over top of a grade 3, so chances are in a game you're going to end up only running 2, maybe 3 of them over top of other grade 3s. If you do not know, when placed, you put the top card of your deck into your drop zone, perform one of the effects. And if you have a grade 3 in Soul, this effect activates 2 times, so that you'll mill 1. If it's a normal unit, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, call it to 2 grade 2 or less cards from to rearguard, and then shuffle your deck. And then you would perform the effect again after like your opponent cuts your deck or whatever. Then if you get a trigger unit, you get plus 15,000 and plus 1 critical until end of turn. It's a very, very powerful card. You can run 4 of them if you want, but I run 2 because in place of that, I also run 2 Armed Instructor Bison. The primary reason that I run Armed Instructor Bison is for a couple of the grade 2s we're going to get into, but it's mostly because if you counterblast 1 when you're attacking with this card, you get to give a rearguard plus 5,000, and if this is on your Vanguard, you can stand that rearguard. It's a stupidly strong card. Do not underestimate it, because in a little while here we're going to get into a couple of cards which really benefit from Bison's effect. So next up we have Pencil Knight Hamsuke. It's just standard part of the ride chain. You know, if your Vanguard has, or if this is your Vanguard and it has the grade 1 in Soul, this gets plus 5,000, so this will become a 14k. If it's on your turn 2 when you have the first part in your Soul, if your Vanguard is the grade 3, this gets plus 3,000 if it's on a rearguard. Just the thing with this, if you start the game with this in your hand, you always want to keep it in your hand no matter what, because there's no way to soul charge this into your deck throughout the game, but there is a way to soul charge the grade 1 into your deck, and to use the grade 3's effect and not make it just a plain old 12k beater that gives you an Excel marker, you're going to need to have this on your Vanguard. Just a heads up. Next, we'll get into my favorite card in the entire deck, Geograph Giant. I run 4 copies of these. This is something not a lot of people run 4 copies of. Some usually run like 2, maybe 3. If this is on an additional rearguard circle, it gets plus 8k. So what you're dealing with here is, if it's on an Excel marker, it's a 17k on your opponent's turn. And then on your turn, you're dealing with a 27k. 27k that you can give plus 5k to and restand if you use Bison. So it's just a very, very overpowered beater card. I think for as long as Standard's around, this is probably going to be a staple card, unless they can come out with something that's even crazier. Next up, we run 3 copies of Binoculus Tiger. The reason I run 3 copies and not 4 copies is because as long as this is on the board, you can utilize its effect, and it's only 9k, so you pretty much just want to keep this out as long as you can, and just counterblast if you need to, but only needs 3 copies in a deck. You definitely don't need 4 copies, because I run 2 barcode zebras in place of a couple of these grade 2s and grade 1s in the deck. I decided to displace in 2 of these. When your card is put from your deck into the drop zone, this gets plus 5k until end of turn. This is just a very, very strong card. You know, if this is on your additional Excel circle, it's a 19k, and then if you place something like Leopold, you're bumping that up to a 29k easily. And then if you use things like Binoculus Tiger or Bison or pretty much anything, you know, you bump that by 5k, so think of it as you're dealing with a 29k and a 27k on board as well because of Geograph Giant. People are getting hit for a lot. They're being hit by numerous attacks because you're Excel. If you're able to get the Hamskay chain going, you're dealing with a lot of threat. Then, you know, to complete the ride chain here, we've got Pencil Squire Hamskay, and if your Vanguard is Pencil Hero Hamskay, while this is on a rear guard, this will get plus 4k, so this is a really good card to boost with, especially if you're able to continuously get off that ride chain grade 3. This will always become a 12k beater, or 12k booster. And at the end of turn, you can Soul Blast 1 and put this into your soul, search your deck for up to 1 Pencil Knight Hamskay, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Pencil Knight would be the grade 2, so if you get this on your turn 1, you never want to ride it, because you want to be using this effect to search out the grade 2, unless if you have the grade 2 in your hand already at the beginning, or if you draw it on your first turn, then it's safe to ride this, but otherwise I don't recommend it. You just want to use the effect of it and then search out that grade 2. Then we have Tank Mouse. You know, you don't really want to boost with this. I just kind of throw this on a rear guard, even if I don't have a use for it. Sometimes I throw it on an additional circle. Other than its effect, it's sort of a terrible card. You know, it's only a 6k hitter, 6k booster. But when your card is put into the drop zone from your deck, you can counterblast 1 and you can return that card to your hand. So if you mill an important card, then you could just counterblast and you can throw that right back into your hand. And unfortunately, it is only once per turn. I'm not sure if that is per card or if that's just once per turn as a whole, because if it's not once per turn as a whole, if you have 2 Tank Mouse, you could counterblast 2, and you could draw both of the cards back that you use for like Leopold's effect. Okay, and then we'll get these 3 here, which are Monoculus Tiger. I like to combo these with Barcode Zebra if it's on rearguard, or even Binoculus Tiger, because using Binoculus Tiger's effect and then this effect, if you're attacking Vanguard, you can make it so that if you Soul Blast with this and you mill one, you know, if it's a normal unit, they can't block with Sentinels, which is like Protect Markers or Perfect Guards. And then you have Trigger units here, which if you mill one of those, they can only guard with Trigger units. And then with Binoculus Tiger, your mill effect for that is you either draw a card or you retire one of the enemy's creatures, and then you put plus 5k on 3. So you could potentially increase your lane or your column there with Monoculus and Binoculus by 10k. Then lastly, we run Silver Wolf. The whole reason that I run Silver Wolf is for my Vanguard. You just pretty much make your Vanguard's lane 24k immediately, because this becomes a 12k boost if it's in the back row. There's nothing special to it. If it's in the back row, it's just, you know, it's 12k, very strong boost. Eventually this will get replaced whenever Great Nature gets more support, but for now we're stuck with it. Then next up, we got 6 criticals, you know, just standard criticals, very strong. I like to run 6 of those, but I'm thinking that I might actually get rid of 2 of these criticals and I might throw in 2 additional front triggers. So we run 4 fronts and then 6 criticals. So we'll actually keep those all over here. So we have 6 criticals, 4 front triggers. We're running 3 draw triggers. The reason that I run 3 draw triggers, and not 4, is because this deck draws a lot as is. Even with only 2 Leopold and downgrading Binoculus and Monoculus to only 3 copies each, you're still drawing a crazy amount of cards from that, or rather you're milling. So you're deck thinning very, very quickly in this deck regardless of what you do. But I still want to have those perfect cards, and I still want to have the drawing from it if I get the chance. It can come in clutch. And then lastly, as controversial as it is, I run 3 heal triggers. Now, a lot of people are going to say that that's a terrible idea, but what you want to do with this deck is you want to be able to draw into these critical strikes and these front triggers as often as possible, which is the reason that we downgraded our draws and downgraded our heals by 1 each, so that we can add in more criticals and more front triggers. Being able to deal more damage to face is worth the risk of not being able to get that 1 extra heal, but often, by the time you'd ever even need a heal in this type of deck, you're going to be able to finish the game. This deck is very powerful in the state that I'm running it in, and I hope you do give it a try. Anyway guys, that's it for my deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to be bringing out a Bermuda Triangle deck profile next week. The Bermuda Triangle deck profile that I'm bringing out is not going to have any of the grade 1s, the seal. It's not going to have seal in it. We're not really going to be running any Stezas, and we're not going to be running any Karo, which is the grade 3 booster. And when the deck profile comes out, I'll explain why I chose to run what I run, and you'll learn more about what makes the deck so strong. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed, I'd really like it if you subscribed. Thanks. Peace.